It's time for the Rick Smith Show. Now, here is the voice of the working class, Rick Smith.
And welcome, brothers, sisters, working class heroes. This is the Rick Smith Show. Thanks so much for being here today on the big program. Lots to get to, lots to talk about. I got to tell you, I love the fact that we're in a moment where people are going, oh my gosh, there are too many jobs being created. You know, it kind of reminds me of the Clinton years where people were going, people like Alan Greenspan were going, gee, I wonder what the world is going to look like when we're debt-free. Because remember, during the Clinton years, and I got a lot of problems with Bill Clinton, but we were on the path towards a balanced budget. We seemed to have things that were moving in the right direction. In fact, the economic folk, they were all freaked out, didn't know what the country would look like without debt. And we're kind of in one of those moments right now where there's so much activity happening. Factories being built, roads and bridges being repaired, there's construction happening. There's good stuff for the American working class going on right now. And you can thank Joe Biden, the Democrats, and a handful of Republicans who voted for the infrastructure package. But we're investing in the country again. Yeah, it's like we care. It's like we want to make it good. It's like we want to fix stuff. And in the process, create the jobs that people are going to need. So every day I'm seeing these stories, manufacturing and construction, hiring at an all-time high. But do we have enough people to fill those jobs? And you kind of get the feeling like, they really want to say the quiet part. We need those immigrants to come in and save us. But I'm saying, look, what we need a mass movement of training the next generation of workers to pick up the mantle and move this country forward. The numbers are really impressive when you stop and you think about it. In January, for instance, manufacturing added 23,000 manufacturing jobs. That is outstanding in January. Now, the problem is December, the industry had over 600,000 job openings for people to take. And these are high-tech, high-skilled manufacturing jobs. These aren't just grunt work. These are jobs where people have to have some skills. And, understand, in the past, employers used to bring people in and train them to do their jobs. What we're also seeing is this push towards, well, what's government doing to do this? What are community colleges doing? What are the non-union building trades people doing? You're seeing this messaging all over because they're really trying to get into the money. They're trying to dig their claws into the bucket of cash that's put aside to help create training programs and apprenticeship programs. And this is the weird thing. We've already got a great system. You've got the building trades of this country who have for generations provided the skilled labor that this country has needed to build when we needed to build. And we could lean on them again. And in a big way, and understand, it benefit everyone. I saw this statistic the other day that the Manufacturing Institute, they're projecting that there are going to be more than 2 million jobs unfilled in manufacturing by 2030. And they're going, well, because, workers don't pursue manufacturing jobs. Yeah, they do. When the pay is right. And you hear this all the time. We can't get people to do whatever job. And look, fortunately, working people, thanks to social media, have been stepping forward going, no, I wanted the job. I just didn't want it at poverty wages. I saw a video of a guy went in to get a manager's job at this facility, and they wanted to pay me $12 an hour. Well, who wants that headache for poverty wages? And for me, there is no better job, than the high-tech, high-skilled building trades jobs that are being created right now, and we desperately need it. So the question, as manufacturing is booming, as construction is booming, what do we do? And I've been saying for a very long time, We need to lay heavily on the union model, on the labor union model of bringing in apprentices, of training them, and not charging them. This isn't a profit motive game. Getting them the skills that they need, the ability to produce, and at a high level. When I need something done, and this is just a personal thing, and this is, pre-pandemic. Since the pandemic, I can get nobody because everybody is working so much. But I used to call the local building trades unions and say, hey, I need an electrician. Hey, I need a bricklayer. Hey, I need a plumber. Hey, I need somebody who knows what they're doing. Yeah, you're going to pay a little bit more. And I'd say, hey, you got anybody who does this kind of work? Maybe on the side, maybe whatever. You pay a little bit more, but you know what? Their skill level is so high that it's worth it because it gets done, and it gets done right. Which is why, again, I love to bring up the fact that you have the competing sides of the country. The tale of two bridges. The one in New York City, what used to be the Tappan Zee, is now the Cuomo Bridge, and that monstrosity out in California, the Bay Bridge. That's never going to be done, was ballooned way over budget, and not done with prevailing wage, not done with project labor agreements, not done with unionized labor as much. In fact, if I remember, they brought in Chinese welders at one point because, hey, they were cheap. And you have a bridge you're never going to finish. Whereas on the flip side, you have the Tappan Zee replacement that was done under a project labor agreement with union labor and with prevailing wage, done under budget, on time, and complete. And is fabulous because I've driven over it a number of times. That to me is right there in front of us. We used to understand you get what you pay for. If you train people well, you give them the skills and the talents to be able to go out there and do the job, they're going to do it and compensate them in a way that this is their career. This is their pride. And, like I said, I've been seeing a lot of these stories popping up saying, well, we can't find enough people. And for me, that argument completely falls down when you start talking about paying people a decent wage. I think back to my experiences in the LTL trucking industry. Back when that was a gold standard job, you never had a shortage of people willing to take that job in not great conditions. Now that job has fallen pretty far economically, they struggle. They have a hard time, filling still a good job, still good healthcare, still good retirement, still a reasonable wage, but not like it was. And that has everything to do with the fact that you have lower union density, less bargaining power, and more cutthroat competition from, companies that all it's about is the bottom line. So for me, when I'm looking at this moment, there's a great moment of opportunity here. There is an opportunity to build a working class, high skill working class, prosperous working class that for the next couple of generations will be what working people strive to be and do. Relive, revive, reunite that American dream. Reignite the American dream and what is possible. And it comes back to, very simply in my view, loving what you do, being paid a reasonable wage, and having pride in what you do. And for my building trades friends, they have all those things. So the question becomes, how do we as a country, how do we move that forward? Is it in the community college ranks? Is it through these ABC contractors that have a not so great record of people completing? Or do we lay heavily on, as I've said, the union model of bringing people in, molding them into the next generation of craftspeople and keeping them active and engaged in those jobs? I think I got the answer. And when we come back, Keith Hocevar of the International Union of Bricklayers and Allied Craftworkers, he's the International Executive Vice President there, going to be here to share some thoughts. Also, Tony DiPerna is going to be here from the International Masonry Training and Education Foundation. Going to share some thoughts on how do we get those bodies into those jobs? How do we get that training out the door and rebuild America? Right back.
It doesn't matter what kind of weather. It doesn't matter what time of day or night. When Mother Nature's done her worst, the only thing that matters to us is keeping the lights on for you. The hardworking women and men of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, dedicated to keeping the power on in communities all across the country. Because when bad weather strikes, we know what matters most. IBEW, the power professionals.
We are AFGE. We support our nation's military and our nation's veterans. We protect our nation's borders and provide services to our nation's seniors across the country and here in Washington, D.C. The American Federation of Government Employees. We work for America.
Welcome back to the Rick Smith Show. Now, here is Rick Smith.
So as we've been talking about, the reality is that there's a boom in manufacturing hiring, there's a boom in construction hiring, and it's all because of what the Biden administration and the Democrats and a spattering of Republicans have been able to cobble together over the last couple of years. Some major investments in infrastructure, major policy in industrial policy, and all this equates to what? Equates to jobs. And in fact, last year, construction jobs picked up at a pace of, what did they say, 16,000 jobs per day, per month averaged in the year of 2023. That's enormous. And what they're saying is in this year, they're going to need another 500,000 workers on top of what is the normal pace of hiring. And that means all those dirty jobs we were told when I was a kid were not the future. Those jobs where you get your hands dirty and you do an honest day's labor, them's the future, my friends. And they pay pretty well. And here to share some thoughts on, how we should be moving forward in filling those jobs. Who does it better than anybody else? And I'm reaching out to my good friends over at the Bricklayers and Allied Craftworkers Union. I've got their International Executive Vice President, Keith Hocevar, here to talk with us. Also, Tony DiPerna is here from the International Masonry Training and Education Foundation. He's their National Director for Apprenticeships and Training. Guys, thanks for taking time for us.
Sure, no problem.
So let me start with you, Keith, first, because, the reality is we see this boom in hiring. We see a lot going on. We see a lot of activity. Do we have the ability to ramp up to meet the needs of the workforce of 2024 and beyond?
I think so. I think that it's going to take training. It's going to take getting people accustomed to the type of work that they're going to be doing. I think that one thing that corporations, small businesses, corporations, even construction companies need to realize going into the future is that today's worker is going to want a few things that they necessarily didn't expect in the past. Now they're expecting decent wages. I think after COVID and especially construction workers were essential personnel during COVID. So they realized their worth when they were going out and working on some of these buildings. Now you take in a work environment now where you're going to want equal pay for women. The unions give you that. So we're bringing in a lot of different women. The women that we haven't brought in the past doing a certain trade that they thought was maybe not something for them. We're finding that we're filling needs there. The job market that currently they're going to expect wages that are competitive, not only wages, but health and welfare and pension benefits that are, competitive because, right. They're worth it.
No, look, I remember, being 18 years old, trying to get into the building trades myself. And at that time, it was really hard to get into. I mean, the competition was enormous because people understood those were good family sustaining wage jobs. Those were career jobs. Those are the ones that you retired from and you led a good life. And sadly, societally, we've moved away from pushing that. Now everyone's got to go to college and take on massive debt. It seems like you guys are back in vogue and a lot of opportunity for young people. So are you seeing, and this is where, I'm looking at the union in particular, are you seeing that push that people get it now, like my generation did?
Yeah. Well, you're seeing our average age for apprentice coming in is still 26 to 27. All right. So they're going through a couple of jobs before they get to us. Now, we do get younger right out of high school, bricklayers, cement finish, and tile layers, but they're usually second or third generation where they're used to watching their mother or their father go to work and bring the toolbox or the lunch pail with them. So, I mean, I think that we're seeing the workers now that come in that have tried a few different careers. So I think that once they find out that they get somewhere like us, we're trying to build careers. So it's no longer jobs. We're not trying to fill jobs. We're trying to build careers. And I think they're going to us more and more.
Let me turn to you, Tony. Tony DiPerna, International Masonry Training and Education Foundation, National Director of Apprenticeship and Training. I've been reading a lot of articles here lately talking about the need to ramp up education. Community colleges are throwing themselves out as the ones that can fill this gap. I know the ABC contractors, the non-union people who, I've got problems there. I know they're saying they're the future, but you guys have been doing this, well, for as long as I know and beyond, and do it very well. Make the case of why you guys are the answer.
Well, first of all, we're the longest union in business, right? So we were the original Masonry Guild way back when. So we're the only one that can claim that. And, our motto is we're the best hands in the business. So there's a reason why we're the best hand in the business. It's because of our training. We have standardized curriculum. So whether you're in the East Coast or the West Coast or in Canada or anywhere else, you're learning the same skill set that everybody's learning. And we also bring our instructors in for certification. They do a 5-year high-level, college-level certification, and after 5 years, they get certified, and they're the best instructors in the country. That really sets the tone for our apprentices. Rick, if you came over to Bowie, our National Training Center right now, we have over 30 pre-job students from all over the country for 8 weeks, and they keep revolving. Every week we get more, and then they go right back to their home locals and go to work.
No, and that's, I was going to bring this up because, I've had a lot of people, ask about these ABC contractors who claim to have an apprenticeship program. And it's been my experience, and this is only my narrow world view of what I've seen personally. I see that, they get people coming in, but they never quite finish the program. They never quite get the same level of skills. And it seems to me, and you guys maybe have a better opinion of this than I do, but it seems to me that it's just a churn for cheaper labor, and to be able to, I don't know. It seems like it doesn't seem on the up and up to me.
No, I've gone round and round with some of the ABC, especially when I was in my previous role as principal officer in upstate New York. It's just a scam to pay lower wages to kids into a program, and they teach them nothing. When you go to the job fairs, and we put our apprentices up against some of the ABC apprentices, it's embarrassing what they're claiming is what they're teaching these kids. It's a sham.
Now, Tony, you were just telling me off air a moment ago, you guys came back from Cement Week in Las Vegas, and it blows my mind that there's a Cement Week in Vegas, but you guys did really well.
Yeah, World of Concrete. Last year we spoke, Rick, we took 7 of 9. This year we took 6 of 9. So these are apprentices from all over the country. And our apprentices took 6 out of the 9 spots for the first, second, and third year. We took 2 from the first years, 2 from the second, and 2 from the third. So again, we did very, very well out there, and our training shows through. I mean, talking about the next generation, and Keith hit on it. 70% of our apprentices come from secondary or third careers. So the average age is a little older. Yes, we are getting those legacies coming in from high school, but the majority are in dead-end jobs, whether they're working at an Amazon warehouse or serving your food at a restaurant or a bartender. And these are the people that are filling the roles right now at a 70% clip for our international union right now.
Yeah, I've got numerous friends in the building trades, and they do something really annoying, and I'm sure you guys do too. As someone who doesn't build things, anytime we'll drive somewhere or we'll go somewhere, they have to educate me about every piece of it, what they did, because look, it's their legacy, and they're proud of the work they do. But it's quite remarkable that they always have to, hey, I did that. Hey, I did that. So there's a pride to this job. This isn't just showing up, punching a clock. This is putting your heart and soul into something and rebuilding the country. I mean, there's some good stuff here, some good flag waving patriotism in my view.
Yeah.
And,
go ahead, Keith.
Oh no, yeah, and we promote that. as well. I mean, we promote the pride. We promote the pride in the industry. We promote our history. We try to promote construction as a noble craft because it is. And when you go through and you look at buildings that are built, skyscrapers, monuments, I mean, you look at some of our restoration projects. You're bringing buildings back to life that were built hundreds and hundreds of years ago. And I think when you get the right person and you put away all the misconceptions about construction, that it really is a great career, and we're making it a lucrative career as well.
Let me ask you this. There's a lot of money going to be flowing this year, a lot this year, a lot next year. There are a lot of projects going up. We need it. We desperately need it, and we've needed it for a very long time. I keep coming back to this. We're in a moment where this is a great opportunity to create good family sustaining jobs. This is a great opportunity to have an economy that's prosperous for working people and that reverberates through the local economy. This seems like the right time for us to be doing this. And I'll be honest, these jobs seem like the kind of jobs that we desperately need. So how do people get involved in it? How do people, come around and say, look, I want to be a bricklayer. I want to be a carpenter. I want to be, one of these folks who's rebuilding this country.
Well, really, we recruit all the time, and all you have to do is go to, imi.web.org, bacweb.org, or imtefweb.org. All the information is there. You can go to NAP2, which is the National Building Trades, and they have all this. Every union is on there for applications and to see where you can go at the local level to join. But getting back to masonry, we're doing a couple. There's three things I want to hit on real quick. One is AR, augmented reality. We're working with that right now to make bricklaying and block laying sexy again, where you can really do some high quality, really articulate projects with the AR helmets. We also have the mule, and this really helps some of our members who are struggle lifting up some of our heavy block. And the mule it's a block assisting machine, robotic, and that's really robotics have really kind of etched into the masonry field too. And then to Keith's point, we're very friendly to all. It doesn't matter who you are, where you come from. And I got to shout out to, some of our leadership to really institute the maternity leave. That has really helped some of the young women in our trade stay in the trade, get paid while they're home with their child, and they're able to come back and not lose any of their benefits. So that was a big boost about a year or 2 years ago. That came into play for the bricklayers, and that really is a game changer for the BAC women.
Now, I'm glad you brought all that up because, back 2 years ago, I guess 2022, the AFL-CIO convention in Philadelphia, I was able to see your display and to be able to play with that mule thing, which is, I may have become a bricklayer because if they had one of those back then. But the kind of technology, and I want you guys to hit on this for a second, the kind of technology that's out there, and pushing back against the the narrative that unions are Luddites and that they don't want to embrace technology. You guys are blowing the doors off that.
Yeah, well, we're trying to save our bodies. They make even harnesses now that help you grind over your head for long periods of time. It keeps the weight of that machine and it kind of pushes up on your elbows and it helps you grind over your head. So we're not only offering health insurance to help our people recuperate from any injuries they do have over long careers, but we're actually trying to bring in and foster technology and bring in technology and help it make us more competitive, make us quicker, make us more efficient, because when it's all said and done, we expect premium quality work out of our members no matter what.
No,
so no matter what anybody can say about
obvious.
us.
I want to get your thoughts on that, Tony.
Yeah, and Keith hit it right on the nose there. The exoskeleton is not going away. We see more and more coming out. Keith and I were in Vegas last week, and we saw some of the new models. To his point, whether you're a PCC mason or new build mason, whether you're laying block or grinding, all this exoskeleton stuff really what it's really doing is a few things: making the health of our members healthier, less injuries, and bringing down the premiums for the contractors for some of the injuries on the job. So I mean, it's a whirlwind of change, and we're embracing it, and we're looking forward to it. And hopefully next time I'm on, I'll show you a little AR and a little augmented reality of what we're doing with that too.
Would love to see that. And when you say exoskeleton, you mean the human body.
Yeah, but it's actually putting on a contraption that actually helps you with some of the weight of what you're doing. So like to Keith's point, when you're grinding for 8 hours like this, it's a drag on your shoulders, really. But now with the new equipment, you're actually, it's taking the majority of that weight off your shoulders. So you're seeing less of those injuries. And on a Friday afternoon, the Craftworkers just as fresh as when they were Monday morning. That's where it really comes into play. And longevity, I can't tell you how many of the old timers we run into that retired when they were 60 years old, that they wish that mule was around when they were young, so they didn't have to lift those heavy block over all that rebar in a prison or school. So that's where it's really paying dividends.
Yeah, and these, ultimately, just to kind of wrap this up for everyone, these are jobs that are not going to go away. They're not going to be outsourced. They're not going to be completely replaced by robotics. And this is where having a union is the great part of this. With the productivity gains, with the being more productive and all of that, and the better efficiencies that come from this, you're talking about better wages and conditions and retirement and health security and all of those things being shared with the workforce. So these are those family sustaining wage jobs that we so want, right?
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Guys,
and don't forget, Rick, the safety issue. Every year we look at our safety issues, and we way outperform our ABC and non-union sectors. We want every member to go home the same way they went to work every day.
There you go, guys. I appreciate you taking some time for us. Keith Hocevar, International Union of Bricklayers and Allied Craftworkers, International Executive Vice President. You can check out their website, bacweb.org. Also, Tony DiPerna, the International Masonry Training and Education Foundation's National Director of Apprenticeship and Training. You can check their stuff out at imtef.org. We'll get links out on social media so you can take a look at that. Guys, thanks so much. Keep up the great work, and I hope you come back and share with us down the road.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rick.
Want to hear your thoughts? Email me, rick@thericksmithshow.com. What do you think? Is this the way forward? How we rebuild America? Rebuild that prosperous working class of yesteryear? I think so. For our Free Speech TV folks, thanks so much for being here. We'll see you back here next time. For our radio affiliates across the country, quick break. Right back.